Okay, let's unpack this. Today we're taking a deep dive into, well, arguably one of the biggest geopolitical questions right now. Who is truly leading the world, America or China? Our deep dive is powered by a really fascinating analysis, a single source that meticulously breaks down this incredibly complex global leadership rivalry. So our mission for you, our listener, is basically to cut through all the noise, giving you a clear, concise understanding of where global influence is actually shifting. We'll touch on everything from economic power plays to the race for tech supremacy.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating here, looking at the source, is just how multi-layered this picture is. The analysis we're exploring makes it really clear. There isn't a simple, straightforward answer, and honestly, that's precisely the intriguing ground we're going to cover today. It's a truly evolving landscape, you see, where leadership isn't just about one single dominant factor anymore.
Absolutely. So when we talk about America's global standing, maybe we should start with the traditional pillars.
Hmm.
What are the long-standing foundations of its power? Our source points to several key strengths that have, anchored the U.S. as a global leader for decades.
That's right. When you look at the U.S., its strengths are incredibly deep-rooted, almost like the bedrock of the current global system, really. First off, military dominance. That's undeniable. The U.S. still commands the most powerful military force globally, with unmatched naval reach and this vast network of strategic alliances, think NATO, for example, that amplify its global presence. But it's not just about the raw power, it's the ability to project that influence pretty much anywhere, anytime.
Okay, military first. What else?
Then there's tech leadership, Silicon Valley. It isn't just a place, it's like this whole ecosystem. It remains the epicenter of global innovation, driving advancements in AI, cloud computing, biotech, even space exploration. The source really highlights that this isn't just about creating gadgets, it's about a culture of innovation, venture capital. It can pivot rapidly, and it still attracts the brightest minds worldwide.
That innovation engine is huge.
It is. And we also can't overlook cultural influence. Hollywood, music, major social media platforms like Instagram, YouTube, they continue to subtly shape global culture, values, trends. It's a form of soft power that creates this really pervasive presence.
Almost invisible sometimes, but definitely there.
Exactly. And finally, the financial system. The US dollar is still the world's reserve currency. That provides unparalleled stability and trust, really. And Wall Street, well, it still largely sets the tone for global markets.
That's a powerful lineup of traditional strengths, no doubt.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets really interesting, I think. Our source also highlights that America faces significant internal challenges. So even with all that influence, what are these headwinds from within that are actually testing its leadership on the global stage?
Indeed. And that's a crucial point the analysis makes. Despite those formidable strengths, it points to several, let's say, cracks in the foundation. Political polarization, for one, that can make it difficult to forge consistent long-term foreign policy or, economic strategies. It creates uncertainty.
Yeah, that makes sense. Consistency is key.
Right. Then there's aging infrastructure, which can hamper economic efficiency and competitiveness over time. And rising national debt, that's another big one, which, if it's left unchecked, can limit future investment and flexibility. The source truly emphasizes that America's leadership isn't just being tested abroad, but also significantly at home. These issues can drain resources and sort of complicate its role as a global beacon.
Okay, so that's the picture for the U.S. powerful legacy, but facing internal tests. How has China's own phenomenal rise, which our source describes as nothing short of strategic, impacted this shifting global influence? Let's talk about its rapid ascent.
China's rise has been truly remarkable, and it's been driven by a very deliberate strategy. That's clear from the analysis. Its economic growth, first off, has been astonishing, catapulting it to the world's second largest economy in, well, record time. And it's not just the world's manufacturing hub anymore. That's changing. It's rapidly becoming a leader in high-value industries like electric vehicles, solar energy, high-speed rail, directly challenging established players in those fields.
So moving up the value chain, basically.
Precisely. And beyond its borders, China's global infrastructure efforts are just immense, most notably through the Belt and Road Initiative, the BRI. Think of it as this vast network of infrastructure projects, roads, ports, digital networks stretching right across Asia, Africa, and Europe. This isn't just about trade routes. It's about fundamentally redrawing global economic connections and significantly expanding its influence far beyond its traditional sphere.
That reach is incredible. What about technology?
Ah, yes. Tech ambitions. China is investing heavily in cutting-edge fields like AI, quantum computing, and 5G. You have companies like Huawei and ByteDance, the parent company of TikTok. They aren't just creating consumer products anymore. They're pushing to set global standards, control crucial data flows. They're actively reshaping the very infrastructure of global tech influence, which the analysis points out is the direct area of rivalry with the U.S.
The clear competition zone.
Absolutely. And diplomatically, China uses soft power too, but maybe differently. Influencing through attraction and persuasion, often through trade deals, development loans, cultural diplomacy. It's positioning itself as a stabilizing force, perhaps, offering an alternative model to Western influence in regions where the U.S. footprint might be perceived as waning or less reliable.
Okay, that sounds like a powerful, very carefully constructed model for building global influence. But does China also face its own set of headwinds? Our source highlights some challenges there too, right? Is this rapid ascent entirely sustainable?
That's an excellent question. And yes, the analysis confirms China faces significant internal challenges as well. It's not all smooth sailing. One major hurdle is an aging population. That's a big demographic shift that puts immense pressure on its workforce and, its social security systems down the line.
The demographic time bomb, some call it.
Something like that. There's also real estate instability, which we've seen headlines about. That has the potential to trigger broader financial risks within their system. And externally, there's growing resistance, or at least pushback, from Western nations. Many are wary of its authoritarian model, its trade practices. This can lead to friction in trade, technology transfers, and international partnerships. So these factors, they create significant complexities for China's continued global trajectory and its long-term stability.
Right. So after looking at both sides of the ledger, the U.S. strengths and challenges, China's rise and its own hurdles, the question of who truly leads starts to look much, much more complicated, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So if we synthesize all of this, drawing from our source, who is leading? Or maybe how are they leading?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture that our source paints, it's definitively no longer a simple, clear-cut answer. That much is obvious. What we see is a world where the U.S. still leads, particularly in areas like, say, fundamental innovation and traditional military might. It retains significant cultural soft power and that crucial financial leverage through the dollar.
Okay, so U.S. still strong there.
Yes. But China, on the other hand, has developed distinct advantages in things like infrastructure development, its sheer manufacturing scale, and a rapidly advancing state-backed tech sector. What's absolutely clear, and the source really emphasizes this, is that both are locked in a strategic rivalry. It's this complex interplay of economic competition, technological races, geopolitical maneuvering, and it's actively reshaping the global order as we speak.
So it's less about one leader, more about this dynamic.
Exactly. And the truly pivotal insight from the source, I think, is that the real question might not even be who leads, but how they lead, the style of leadership. The U.S. often leads through alliances, market mechanisms, a sort of bottom-up innovation culture. China often leads through state-directed initiatives, bilateral economic partnerships, a more top-down strategic approach. This raises an important question, maybe the important question. Will the future be defined primarily by competition, by pockets of cooperation, or perhaps by something entirely new, a mix we haven't quite seen before?
That's a crucial distinction, focusing on the how rather than just the who. So to summarize for you, our listener, understanding global leadership today really means appreciating the distinct strengths and the very real challenges of both the U.S. and China. It's not about simply seeking a single winner. This deep dive, we hope, has helped you see the specific areas where global influence truly lies, allowing you to maybe cut through some of the noise and recognize these complex dynamics yourself.
Absolutely. And maybe a final thought for you to consider as you continue to watch this unfold. How will this dynamic interplay between these two global powers? Whether it's through intense competition, perhaps surprising cooperation, or more likely a shifting mix of both. How will that ultimately define the shape of the world that you will live in for decades to come? It's something worth pondering.